Patrick Rogan. I'm the chairman of the new Military and Veteran Business Resource Group. Today, in support of the diversity activities, we have a lot of fun events planned. You've probably seen the active duty guys out there throwing the basketball, and then we'll have some questions and prizes in the raffle. But in support of what we do here at VSP Global to help transition military and veterans, both as public relations and community relations and everything, but we also have a hiring effort because we believe that military and veterans possess the core competencies that we want as a company. And so it's appropriate to have a group like the Honor Group show up, and we really appreciate that they took the time to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mark Soto, who's going to talk about what his nonprofit organization does to help veterans.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here. And there's the reason why we call this the Honor Group is because, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about this, because we love the word honor. It's always about honoring our heroes, our military veterans. I'll tell you a little bit more about what we do in a few minutes. But before I get there, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of wounded veterans that we brought. I like to call them heroes, but they never like to be called that. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you several of them. First one I'd like to introduce is Specialist Samantha Von Cleff. If you could all please stand and welcome her. Thank you very much. Samantha is at the National Guard and the United States Army. She's become a great friend. Thank you very much, Samantha. It's right here. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is Corporal Nick Duncan. Please welcome him. Corporal Nick Duncan was with the United States Army. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Another guest that I'd like to introduce is Staff Sergeant Culliver, John Culliver. Staff Sergeant Culliver is a U.S. Marine. Thank you very much. Okay, well, I come from a family of ministers, so I really don't need a mic. So I hope, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. I'm a high school football coach. I've been a high school football coach for 18 years. I also have two boys that serve in our nation's military. And it was from their service, with them getting deployed over to Iraq and Afghanistan, and seeing their friends killed and come back wounded, that I started the Honor Group. And basically, as a football coach, the only thing I knew how to do was coach football. I knew how to work with these young men. I knew how to empower them. I knew how to, educate them and give them motivation so they could go out there and be the best they could be on the football field. But when my boys went to war, I saw something completely different when it came to my boys and the friends that they had from Camp Pendleton and other bases around the nation. When they started getting killed and wounded, I realized that there was something that I had to do, and it burned in my heart. It burned in my heart greatly. So what I did is I got a couple of my football friends together and the coaching friends together, and I said, hey, what about if we do something like what you see with, cancer awareness, where everybody wears pink? What about if we got together our football teams and your football teams and your football teams, and we wore camo? And everybody would come out to Del Oro or Granite Bay or wherever the event was being held, and we would put on an event to honor our military veterans. So in 2010, we started this event out here at Del Oro High School called Battle at the Capitol. You may have heard about it. It's been all over the news here. We're really well known. News 10 covers it, KCRA, the SAC-B, all that. Well, over the years, it's grown. And also, my boys have come back from combat. So with that growth of the football event growing, and then my boys returning from combat with the issues that they've had to work through, the honor group was formed. And it's all about educate, empower, and equip. So what we do is we go into the high schools and put on large school assemblies where we'll get 2,000, 3,000 kids and the community to come into these assemblies, and we'll teach them about what a real hero looks like. It's not Superman, it's not Iron Man, it's not Batman. It's not that. It's these guys right here. So we go in front of these school assemblies with 2,000 kids sitting in this room, and we introduce them to what we feel a real hero is, the ones that have bled and died for our freedom. So we do that, and we call them honor tours. On top of that, what we also do is when we do the football events, we go into the locker rooms, and I'll have all the athletes knee up in front of me, and I'll ask them to raise their hands. Who here, out of all you guys that are sitting in front of me, and the coaches sitting in front of me, who here knows somebody that has served in our nation's armed forces? 99.9% of those hands will go up, because we all have a grandfather, an uncle, a cousin, a sister, a brother that has served. I mean, let me ask you that question. How many of you know somebody in your family that has served? I rest my case. So what we do is before they go out on the football field, we say, this is who you're playing for. This is why you're doing this. This is why you're all camoed out. This is why you're doing this. And I tell you, when they go out to play that game, they are eating nails. They are ready to go out and win. So this event that we do, it's now called the Honor Bowl, to go with the honor group. What we do is we'll put that event on up here at Del Oro High School on Labor Day weekend, and then the following weekend we go down to San Diego to the gates of Camp Pendleton at Oceanside High School. And this will be the first time we are actually holding this event there. There'll be 20 to 25,000 people that'll be coming into that stadium to see the best of the best high school football on the West Coast for our military veterans. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing that the Lord has blessed me with. And I can't say enough of how grateful I am. So that's the education part of what we do. The next thing we do is we empower. When these military veterans come back, all right, there's a transition that they have to go through. I mean, when they're out there fighting for our freedom, it's a different world. And you'll hear John talk a little bit about it, and these guys will be around to ask questions afterward. But it's a different world. When you give someone an M16 at 18 years old, and you tell them to walk the streets and police and patrol and do their duty, that's an empowerment that they're given at a very young age. And some of them are 18, 19 years old. I think the average age of our military guys are in their early 20s, 21, 22. Average age. Then they come back from being at service, fighting for our freedom, bleeding, dying, and then they have to transition into civilian life. So what we do is we empower them with our programs that we do that we call the honor tours, the evening of honors, the football events, and we empower them to come and educate our students regarding the needs that they may have. And that helps them. We also do a marathon where they do physical activity, where the physical activity helps them transition to civilian life too, because of the physicalness of being in a wheelchair or running a marathon. It empowers them. It helps them. The other thing that we like to do is we also equip, and that is with the money that we raise through our nonprofit, we give back. We've had several Marines, several military guys that come in that have lost their legs from stepping on an IED. What we like to do is give back and give them something that'll help them live their life. And one of the guys that we helped out recently, we got him a track chair. He had been slipping out of his chair. He lives in Montana. And he had been slipping out of his chair. So, because they live in snow and mud. And so I asked him, I said, Tommy, I said, what can we do to help you? What can we do to help you? And he said, Coach, I've been looking at this track chair that has Army tracks on it. I should have brought a picture. You guys would have loved it. But it's got Army tracks on it. And I said, how much does that cost? And he told me. So I called the president. I called the president of the company, worked out a deal, and at our Del Oro School Honor Tour in front of 2,000 people, we rolled out that chair to him and said, thank you for your service. So that's what we do as the honor group. You guys here at VSP, I cannot say enough of how grateful we are for what you are doing for our military veterans. I cannot say enough. I wish more companies were out there like that. Elena, you've done a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you. It's hard not to get emotional because Elena and I have known each other for several years, and she's become such a great friend. And I just love your heart. I love your heart. I love what you're doing and in helping our military veterans. So thank you so much. So that's a little bit about the honor group. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we do, but my next guest, I don't want to belabor anything more about what the honor group does, but I want you to meet someone special. His name is Staff Sergeant John Cullifer. John is a wounded warrior, and he works for the Department of Veteran Affairs, and I'd like John to step up and tell you a little bit more about what he does with the VA.
All right, well, I'm obviously, my dad is a preacher, so I obviously don't need mobilization help. I am a 17-year combat veteran. I've done 3 tours in Iraq, 3 in Afghanistan, Bosnia, Somalia, Kosovo, and a few other places in between. In the Marine Corps, I was an 0317, which is a First Force Recon Sniper. I don't look like it now. That's 5 surgeries after I got out that have made me look like this. Let me explain the picture, because everybody's looking at the picture going, wow, what is that kind of stuff? Well, this, if anybody in this room seen Rules of Engagement, the movie? Okay, well, in the Marine Corps, I was paid to go to Africa and help film that movie, and that's what this picture is. I was on one of the choppers that you bring the Marines in. You see that roof scene? I'm all over it. We spent 30 days in Africa filming. So then, let's fast forward a few years. This is in 05. This was my last tour in Iraq. And as a sniper, as you can tell, we hide. We like to find out and reach and touch out somebody from a long ways away without being seen. Well, we were called to an emergency evac, and one time I got in a vehicle. One time. 35 yards later, that big hole is what happened. We were in a convoy of 4 trucks. Of those 4 trucks, I'm the only person to make it out alive. And that is because this is what my vehicle looked like. I was sitting in that seat with that rear door. That rear door was a faulty door through the new up-armored Humvees that was supposed to protect us, and that, for some reason, was faulty, and out I went. Because of that, I have 4 fractured vertebrae in my lower back. I have 6 ruptured discs that are pressing on my sciatic nerve, so right now I cannot feel the entire right side down from my lower back down to my legs. So I'm what they call a wounded warrior. So my story is a very interesting one because when I was dropped out, when I was told I could no longer perform my duties as a Marine, they said you have to get out. 17-year career, out the door. Okay? They left me out, I had nothing, and transition-wise. So I went through the whole rigmarole. I had nothing. I had no friends. I lost communication with my wife and my kids. I couldn't hang out with them. I couldn't understand how civilians handle their day-to-day operations. So I began to formulate a plan for suicide to end my life because I thought I was better off not a part of this community because I wasn't in the military. Well, obviously I didn't go through with that plan because a group such as this one found me and saved me and proved that I have more to offer this world than ending my life. I've got a lot of stories in the military. I've got a lot of help for veterans. And the VA, a friend of mine says, hey, why don't you come work for me? You're a veteran, right? I said, well, yeah. She says, are you disabled? I said, yeah. She says, well, I can hire you. And so when I heard that VSP was hiring veterans, I'm like, oh, I'll be all over coming out here and talk to you guys because I am so impressed because there's a stigma that comes with a veteran of these current wars. I don't know if you guys know that, because obviously you don't, because you guys hired them. There's a stigma that comes with guys and girls like me. We are often distant, we are reserved, we have no real communication skills besides a military form, and to have VSP be willing, because of what we're trained, our honor and our integrity is first and foremost important to how we do this. Mission success is what we do, okay? To have VSP, it's amazing, I can't say enough, that you guys hire veterans. And how many in here are veterans? Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for your service to our country during your time in the military. Okay? Whether you're before me or after me, you paved the way for guys like me and folks like this to go through what we do. Saturday, I need to tell you about an event on Saturday. We had it called the Hometown Heroes Barbecue. VSP sent out a van. You've all seen the van, right? When that sucker came rolling in, we had veterans, homeless veterans. We had underprivileged veterans who are not getting through with their VA claim. That van rolled into that parking space, and everybody's lives went poof. You want to know what impressive is? To see those ladies get out of that van and start welcoming veterans, saying, we're going to help you out to get a free eye exam and a free pair of glasses so that these veterans can see what they're doing to help apply for jobs, to help function in their day-to-day business, is astronomical. Do you think you can get any other company to do that? Provision? No, sorry. But VSP did that. Okay? I'm sorry, my PTSD and my TBI kind of worked my brain, so I don't remember their names. I wish to gosh I did. I gave them my business card. I told them we'd be out here. But those ladies performed miracles. Veterans, I've still gotten phone calls today, even before I came out here this morning at my office. They said, wow, can you thank VSP for me? So I am here to thank you and your staff and management, and you, young lady, are amazing with what you do. I can't say enough. It's amazing. So from the veterans that were at this event, and we serviced 617 veterans at this event. A lot of veterans got to use the VSP clinic, and they stayed after the event was over for 2 extra hours. Okay? After the event was over, they stayed providing these services. So from the veterans that were there, I do want to say thank you to the staff that is here tonight, because that is so impressive, okay? You have no idea the impact that you make in our community of veterans. So thank you once again. Okay? So now let me drop to the present day in the VA. The VA made a big mistake. They hired me. Okay? I work in compensation and pension. Everybody knows how the VA claims process is in the news today, right? It's huge. We're in the 2-year backlog from Oakland is astronomical. 137,000 cases behind right now of veterans waiting to get their compensation benefits. Okay? We're now in mandatory overtime. I got to work at 3 o'clock this morning. I'll leave at 7 o'clock tonight. I took this time off to come out here just so I could speak to this wonderful group of people. But we are trying to process claims at a cyclic rate for less people than we have. I'm doing the work of 6 individuals, and I process about 190 claims a day. I'm only supposed to process 100 claims a month. Right now is what I'm at. Okay? So the VA is trying to hire veterans, but right now there's that thing called a sequester. They can't hire any more veterans. So more veterans are out looking for outside work. And to hear that you guys are hiring veterans, whenever you guys do that, is phenomenal for guys like me who talk to veterans day in and day out. Okay? Yesterday, my call log had 1,700 phone calls, okay, in my period of time. That is more calls than I can answer, all right? I was talking to a veteran. By the time I got done with my day, when I got in this morning, I had 295 voicemails. That's veterans I didn't get to talk to, that I will reply to sometime this week, hopefully, if I can get through them, if more don't come. Fortunately, that's the lock of my voicemails. I can't get any more, so I try to get them off as much as possible. But that's what I do, and that's my story. I'm here to support not only the honor group, because this is a phenomenal, phenomenal group of people. I am looking forward with anxious arms to meet Coach Soto's son, who's a former Marine as well, just to see and let him know that there are people like myself and groups like this who welcome him home and welcome him into the workforce. So, without further ado, Coach Soto, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Good job. Okay. You know, John's story really hits home with me because my son right now is in a hospital. I usually don't share this story, but because you guys are a small, intimate group, I'm going to do that. Very similar to John's story, was in combat. He went over with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, lost 25 friends, 2 of which were killed right in front of him. And he came home, and he's got a wife and 3 kids. And what has happened is that PTSD really affected his mind to the point where he could not think properly, couldn't be the proper dad that, you know, he wanted to be and what I had raised him to be. And he ended up being placed in a hospital, which he'll be getting out of next week. So John's story about what he shared, I'm living right now. I'm living right now. I can tell you this, is that every single military man that I have met, every single one of them, come back with a story, but they come back with a passion in their heart to do and to be. They come back with a mission. That's what they were trained to do, is to go to a spot, be at that spot, do your best at that spot, then return. That's what they did. Cover your brother. Be in that foxhole. Attack that enemy. Every single one of these gentlemen and women that I have met come back with that type of drive and passion. And VSP, and with the work you guys are doing in hiring veterans, you guys see it. I wish more did see it, because they're phenomenal employees. They could be led, they could be tutored, they could be instructed, because that's the way they've been taught from the get-go. So it really, really means a lot to be here for just these few short minutes, and thank you. Shauna, thank you. Thank you very much. I can't believe I got through that story without crying. One other thing I'd like to talk to you about, and that is, this is a story of that I actually read in a book. And it was about a young nurse that was a triage nurse that worked in the Vietnam War. And you all know about the stories of the Vietnam War. I think we lost over 50,000 men and women from that war. And it was her job in the triage nurse, as a triage nurse in this emergency room, where the wounded, the mortally wounded soldiers would come back. And it was her job to take the tag and tag the toe, the heel of these soldiers that were returning. There were 3 tags. One was a green tag. And if you were tagged with a green tag, that meant you were okay. You were critical, but you were okay. If you were tagged with a blue tag, that blue tag meant that, you know what, get medical attention to this person right now. They need it right now. And God forbid, if you were tagged with the red tag, that means that there was no hope, that you were dying, and that, you know, there was no hope for you, that you were bleeding out. So, the story goes on is that Mary, as she was walking through this triage hospital, she came across this one young soldier, and the soldier had a red tag on his toe. But she realized he was breathing and he was moving his eyes, and she went up to him and said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yes, help me, help me, help me." So she reached over, looked around, grabbed that tag, and changed the color. Changed the color to the blue tag. And then she yelled out, "Help, help, help, get over here now. This guy needs help." So the nurses ran over and they revived him. And he lived. He lived. You know what? You have an opportunity here at VSP to change tags. I use that story to give you an analogy that every single military man that you see, whether it's in Starbucks, whether it's in Safeway, whether it's out on the ball field, wherever you're at, you have an opportunity to change a tag and say, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service." You here at VSP are absolutely the greatest group of people I have ever met. Thank you so much for inviting us out here and letting us tell a little bit of our story. And thank you for changing tags. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. We're here to answer any questions. If you have any questions for us, please, we're up here. If you have any questions now, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And we'll be outside. Yeah. We'll be outside. Yeah. Thank you. God bless. Thanks, John. Great job. Great job. Thank you. Thank you.